No, I think the best would be that you start
Bah oui.
with some remark or question.
It's supposed to be the what is called a Q&A after the screening. So I bet let's Q&A.
Or even Q without A.
We nod.
Why not?
Non, mais c'est vrai, je suis d'accord.
No, why not is the name of the maybe
Production.
not of the production of 35.
Non.
No. But many of the films of Claire are produced by the Why Not production. Well,
Claire, can you talk about the foretelling of Rene's suicide and the elements that you placed within the preceding scenes to foreshadow that this would happen, and what the meaning of his suicide was to you, the importance of it, and what you were saying about society?
If I want to be very honest, I don't. Scenes like that, for me, are not really message or meaning a lot to the society. I just thought about a guy who has been working in a job like train driving, which to me seemed, when I met the real train driver, a pretty solitary job, but in the same time, very well, the union are very strong. So although they are very lonely when they drive the train, they they share this togetherness very strongly. And I thought for a person like that, to be still young, because they retire at 55, and losing a sort of family, you know, and be supposed to enjoy, to have time to go fishing and blah, 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 could be very successful for some, but not for all. Huh? So I thought he was the kind of guy who missed the other, and who missed his togetherness and belonging to a group so well organized as train drive, subway driver. Voilà. That's all I wanted to say. When we decide, when we were writing the script, to have what we say en français, le pot d'adieu, the goodbye drink, I thought it was leading him to sort of depression, this guy, this René, you know? Maybe another guy not, but this one I think yes. But there is no much more of a message, you know, that's enough for me.
but if you agree, would add something, that is, the suicide of René is in a way related to the main story in the film, because at the end of the film, Alex, what is his name in the film? He is
Lionel.
Lionel. Yes. Lionel will remain alone.
Mm-hmm.
And what will happen with Lionel? Of course, his daughter will be married. Maybe he will have grandchildren, but even that is not given in advance. Because there is a question about this marriage. You can be a little suspicious about the future of this marriage. But even without that, Yes, I think not all the film, but something mainstream of the film is about becoming alone. Alone, Lionel from his daughter, Rene from the family of the train, and I think I would add this other family, which maybe is more perceptible for us, for the French people, because you have seen all are black, but it's very special black, even about the color. They are black from the
Caribbean.
Yeah, the Caribbean, which is the and the 35, which is translated, I don't know why, by stocks.
Shots.
Shots.
C'est un petit coup.
I read stock. Yes, but I understood it was a coup. I don't like that. Why? It is not Rome. How you say for Rome? Say Rome. Rome. Because Rome is, and the white Rome they are drinking, is a very typical drink or liquor, alcohol from the
Caribbean people.
Yeah. So there are two families for Rene. Train and Caribbean people, everything is mixed.
There is something that happened in the 60s in France. This is not in the film, but it is in France. Something not so many French know, but in the 60s that start the massive decolonization of the colony from English, Portuguese, French people. And the Caribbean were supposed to be not colonies. They were supposed to be a région de France, part of France.
Even department. That is regular.
At that time they were not department yet. And so there was some movement like Aimé Césaire, all those people, France Fanon. They wanted also to be considered as colony and to be independent. And the French government then decided to decide that all those islands will become departments of France. Therefore, there will be French citizens with exactly the same right as any other French citizen. But they then remark, okay, you give us French nationality, French department, and equal rights and blah, 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 but we are far. We live in the distance. You don't take a train 2 hours, you are in Paris, no. So we want a special treatment. So for instance, instead of having 30 days of holidays, they will have 50, we have half-price ticket to go back. And on top of that, they will be offered jobs if they wanted. And those jobs were nurse, post office clerk, and train driver. So if you go in a post office in Paris nowadays, you will see many people from the Caribbean still today. Huh?
In Paris?
Yeah.
Not in Strasbourg.
No.
Strasbourg is too far for the Caribbean people. Indeed.
Non, et puis forcément, they were landing in Paris, getting the job. A lot of them led their children to the grandparents. So they have a sort of way of life together. They never really felt completely accepted as really French citizens. Because the color of the skin, but also because they were, they were landing in Paris, they were getting the job. A lot of them led their children to the grandparents. So they have a sort of way of life together. They never really felt completely accepted as really French citizen. Because the color of the skin, but also because they were landing in Paris, they were getting the job. A lot of them led their children to the grandparents. because there was a sort of mockery that they were working as nurse, or if you do a comedian who will make a show about being in a hospital, you will make the nurse with a Caribbean accent, like a Creole accent.
But Lionel in the film was married, or if not married, so the mother of the daughter was a German white woman. And I did not understand how, when it happens, why, or maybe I
No,
forget
he
something.
He never said.
He never said.
There is only this little picture of his baby daughter, and then a picture of a mother with the same baby. There is nothing extremely precisely said when they met, how they met. Only the character interpreted by Ingrid Cavensen to the young girl. When your mother told me she had met this good-looking young man in Paris, I said, "Is he cute?" And she said, "I'm sure you will like him." That's all.
Yes, and I understood at least that maybe after the death of the mother, Lionel had a story with Ingrid Caven, no?
No, I
No?
don't think it could have been that
It's
she
not
liked him
impossible.
very much. It's not impossible. Yeah.
Because
Apparently,
at least she's a very close friend. to
yeah,
him.
she's a sister-in-law or something like that,
Ah,
She
sister-in-law.
says my sister.
Oh, right. Okay.
But anyway,
No, it can be
It can happen.
something else. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Can you tell me more about the character Gabrielle?
Gabrielle for me was the taxi driver.
Yes, no.
She was, let's say, my personal character, like the one I really like, the one who is in love, desperately in love, and she knows somehow she will never succeed convincing Lionel that that's the best solution for both of them. Why live in the same building, separate? They could. And she had many hopes when the girl was little. Maybe it was a good time. Then now that the girl is getting married, maybe it's also the good time. But I think it's hopeless. Because for some reason, Gabrielle is the kind of loving woman that shows so much of her love that it must be frightening for Lionel. You know what I mean? If you show so much, and for me, Lionel was afraid of that. He wants to be able to choose his own love and not to be imposed the very heavy love of Gabrielle, which, for me, Gabrielle is a great character because she understands him so well, He's wrong in a way, but he's not attracted by her, and that you cannot change it.
I think he doesn't want not to marry her, but to live with her. He doesn't want to live with anybody.
Oui.
He spent a night with a woman of the cafe, of the bar. He danced with her, and then he spent the night with her. But with Gabrielle, it would be to spend the whole life, and this is exactly what he doesn't want. And Gabrielle plays as well a role with Rene. It's all because, or she is used by to show that Rene cannot enter to the half
Circle.
demand from Gabrielle. He is fair, he's a
Beautiful woman like you.
yeah, beautiful, yes, beautiful woman like you, but he makes nothing to keep her in the cafe. She says, I have to go, so yes, bye-bye. So Gabrielle is either refused or even not seen, not felt as the woman she is.
I like Gabrielle when they are in the car before the car broke, and she said, "It's so good to have to going out as a family, you know." And Lionel and everyone looks at her like, oh. Everyone goes to the concert to please her. No one wants to go, really. No?
It's your turn.
Actually, my question was also about Gabrielle, but maybe I can ask it in a different way, in that it seems like in one way she has a lot of understanding of what it means to give, but perhaps doesn't really know how to not give, how to stop giving, how to just like cut it off and be her own independent woman, and wonder why she's not courageous enough to look elsewhere for her needs.
If you want, maybe I'm younger, but I will defend Gabrielle.
Okay.
Because she's really someone I like a lot. I think she's very independent. She had her own job. She's never complaining. She takes care of who needs. She was babysitting the little girl and everything. She's a very independent woman. But she is really in love with Lionel, you know. This kind of thing, when it happens, to look elsewhere doesn't mean you are independent, means you want to look elsewhere. Sometimes you don't want to look elsewhere. Me, I can tell you, it's not a sign of independence to be able to, you don't want me, so I will look elsewhere. You can also be obsessed by only one person. That could happen. No?
That could happen, yes. We understand that you are Gabrielle.
Me, I feel very much like her, because I think independence is not where you think it is. I'm speaking to myself now, not to you. To be independent is also to be dependent on so many precious things or secret things, you know. To be independent is a word, you know. It's not spreading into all your nerves, every millimeter of your flesh and your cells. You're independent, yes. Completely, I don't know.
I think there is just a moment in the film where Gabrielle shows and says how she is independent. She is independent in the communication with all the world.
Yes.
Is when one man takes
The cab.
And I don't remember what happens.
He's not very nice because she says,
nice.
"Oh,
Yes.
he says, oh, you cab driver, you always complain." And she said, no, I enjoy my job
Yes,
very
I
much.
enjoy my job and I see a lot of different people.
Yeah.
So I think she is almost like the filmmaker.
Yes, I agree. I
In
think
addition, the car,
Gabrielle is
the
very
car,
close.
like in Kiarostami,
Yeah,
the car is
Me,
the camera
I-
going through.
I think I'm a sort of Gabrielle also. Yes.
Yes, sure.
When we walked through the script writing procedure of Aller au Diable of Jean-Luc, it's still there from the first time until the
Yeah.
cusp of the movie. You walked us through the different stages. In this movie, 35 Shots of Rum, there is it's written by yourself and Jean-Paul Farco. How was that different?
It's the same. This little sketch, this little thing I made. We do the same with Jean-Paul. You know, I've been working with Jean-Paul for over 20 years. So normally we have. There must be always, even there. The big form comes after. There is a form for the 35 Shots of Rum. It's different. We knew that in the end of the film, they were separated by her getting married. That we knew. We knew that the mother was dead. He was a widower, and the mother was dead long ago, so they were already living like a couple. And this couple was so solid and so strong that even if the neighbor, the young man or Gabrielle, tried to enter that couple, it was so solid that they were always at the door, you know, this green door. They were like always at the door. That was what I thought. That was like a sort of general form of the film, you know. And then I had, because for some other reason had been reading things about train driver, so all this, but the job is always something that comes very early in a story. How people live, how much money they make a month. Do they have a job? Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they lose their job, you know. Are they very wealthy or just average or rather poor, you know? So all this is the very beginning. Then the shape, like this kind of thing, I would say was to describe first the ritual of the couple, father and daughter, as if they were a couple, man and woman. You know, washing machine, cooking, taking off your, that's it. Plus the train, the job. And only after establishing this sort of ritual of living in this building, which is not very adventurous in script writing, you know, it's a sort of precise description of a ritual. Then, like a train, we had the tracks, you know, already. So we knew where we were going to stop. And I knew she was studying because it takes place in the north of Paris. I knew where she was going to study. I knew she was going to study in this university called Paris 8, which at that time had suppressed teaching anthropology. So I took real elements, you know, with Jean-Paul.
Paris 8, you have to say, maybe some of you heard about Vincennes, you know, because this is university was first at Vincennes, that is in the
east
the east of Paris, and then it moved to Saint-Denis, which is in the north of Paris, and it was sort of the university of 68. You know. Now it's a university like the other, but there is something of the after 68 in
still, but the thing is because it was more free in a way of teaching that somehow they get their budget reduced a lot, you know, and little by little, let's say, wealthy students, they don't go anymore to this place. So I go there sometimes to teach, and I enjoy. And because of that, they suppress anthropology because they say, you don't need to learn anthropology. You don't make money out of anthropology, so learn useful science and things like that, you know.
I wonder if you might speak a little bit more about the apartment building itself, because for me watching it becomes almost another character. And also when I think of Ozu, I think of these very specific domestic spaces and also a very specific kind of architecture. So I'm curious how you made the choice to place these characters in this structure.
Yeah. It was very important in the pre-production. Because on the script, Gabrielle and this young man were living in the same building. That was said in the script. And of course, knowing it would have been ridiculous to find 3 places in 3 different places for budget reasons. It was much more easy to have the 3 apartments in the same building, and cheaper also for the production. But the most important thing for me, because I didn't care about Gabrielle's apartment, even the young man apartment, the only important apartment for me was father and daughter. I wanted them to have an apartment that was probably meant for a real family at the very beginning, and suddenly it became an apartment of only father and daughter. So there was this extra room which is in the middle, and I wanted to make clear that because she was grown up, they don't use the same bathroom, and there is this long corridor between his room and her room, so that he would respect her intimacy and he would not have to walk naked in front of her or whatever. So I wanted an apartment with a long corridor, but not a rich apartment, small rooms but separated. I wanted that very much. So in the end, the railway company give us, they knew us, of course, we were asking for permission to use train. They said, we also have a building there you can visit. And we went there, and we liked the fact that it was also belonging to the railway company, because all the people living in that building were train driver or whatever, people who would take care of electricity or tracks. Therefore, they were very nice to us. We rent 3 apartments.